An introduction to gastronomy. Introduction. Topics to be covered in this module. Gastronomy. Types of gastronomy. The status of gastronomy in society. Gastronomy. Gastronomy is defined as the art, or science, of good eating. A simple and easily manageable explanation of gastronomy is that it is concerned with the enjoyment of food and beverages. In this case, it is nearly everybody's subject. We all know what we enjoy, and we would like to think we understand why we enjoy a given food or drink. These individual gastronomic values are generally based on many foundations, for example, cultural, geographical, social and elementary socialization. Gastronomy is for many individuals a hypothetical construct. That is, one where the existence of it is merely inferred and for which unambiguous objective evidence is not fully available. However, many critical theoretical entities are hypothetical constructs. In the case of gastronomy, it is not currently a clearly defined subject with a beginning, middle and end. Indeed, there is a great deal of overlap with many other subjects, callings, professions and trades. A useful working definition of gastronomy can be the study of food. In most uses of the word gastronomy, food is the preeminently held factor. However, for the gourmet and gastronome, it essentially requires a broader definition. This is the enjoyment of good food and good beverage, in good company. Types of gastronomy. Practical gastronomy. Practical gastronomy is concerned with the practice and study of the preparation, production and service of the various foods and beverages from countries around the world. In example, the cuisines. Practical gastronomy then has to do with the techniques and standards involved in the conversion of raw produce into aesthetic, nationally, regionally, and culturally specific edible products. Practical gastronomers comprise chefs and all guest contact personnel, including food service staff, sommeliers, trancheurs, and chefs de rang. The conversion of foods and beverages into complete dishes, menus and accompanying drinks as used in various countries, is one of practical gastronomy's specialist areas. It is also an area where the chef and the food and beverage professional are supremely active. Theoretical gastronomy. Theoretical gastronomy supports practical gastronomy. It is concerned with a systems and process approach, focused on recipes, cookery books and other writing. It records various procedures that must be carried out to maximize success. Theoretical planning for the physical processes individuals has to go through when formulating and preparing events, menus, dishes and drinks are all part of the business concern and theoretical gastronomy. Theoretical gastronomy is the source of creativity that has inspired and upheld the classical and national dishes of the world for centuries. This again is the field for chefs and other food and beverage professionals who are combining their practical abilities with theoretical input to maximize learning and efficiency. Technical gastronomy. Technical gastronomy brings rigor and underpins practical gastronomy. It is much more than the mere knowledge of specifications for plant and machinery and how they can affect productions and service. It looks at the systematic evaluation of anything in the gastronomic field that demands appraisal. It is also much more than the multiplication of recipes to achieve bulk preparation for any given event, with its subsequent subdivision into portions. It is a line between the small-scale operation and mass manufacture. Menu engineering, which is defined as a sales mix analysis view, also advances this approach and therefore forms part of the technical approach in gastronomy. It is an example of one of the tools which can be utilized to ensure success, where observing, recording and analyzing the performance of several variables can be used to maximize potential. Technical gastronomy is also about the evaluation of convenience foods, new and evolutionary plants, new production methods like sous vide, and the skills and equipment required to place these into production and safely monitor the performance of them over trial periods. The technical side also assesses the validity of specific foods to given organizations. Research and development technicians, development chefs and food scientists, and operational specialists work in this area. Consultant chefs also specialize here, as do group chef executives. Food gastronomy. Food gastronomy is concerned with food and beverages and their genesis. Fundamentally, the role of wine and other beverages in relation to food is to harmonize in order to maximize the enjoyment to be had from both, although wine can also be more readily appreciated by itself. Traditional styles of catering necessitate a wide variety of foodstuffs in their production. The greater the complexity employed in the menu, the greater the likely number of commodities will be necessitated. Those working with foodstuffs and beverages require up-to-date product knowledge and continual learning, for food products and beverages change over time and with the seasons. Actively assessing demand, quality and storage considerations, even for all preserved foods such as dried goods and frozen food, will maximize return. Gastronomy provides a platform for an understanding of how food and beverage resources are used in a particular situation. Through gastronomy, it is possible to build a picture of the similarities of the approach used in various countries and cultures in terms of their foods and beverages. Gastronomy is also concerned with the quality of wine and all other beverages, and the way in which the totality of food and wine, in example, the meal as a whole, complements the situation and those at the table. Accepting that the quality of food and beverages is all important, then gastronomy is concerned with the assessment and improvement of that quality in the context of the occasion. The status of gastronomy in society. Gastronomy and the development of a gastronomic culture have traditionally been of limited interest to the majority of individuals. The transmission of gastronomic culture has, to a large extent, been confined to, associated with, and fostered by a small but socially prominent elite. This elite has banded together in many countries to promote eating as a social activity, which cultivates refined taste in the pleasure of the table. Gastronomy as an activity is highly stratified and takes the form of a hierarchy headed by gastronomes, who are much more than gourmets, for gastronomes have a distinctive social role. Any association that the term gastronomy may have had with everyday food has been obscured. To some extent, the decline of domestic cooking has accelerated this process, and through less time being spent in the kitchen by modern families, in comparison with the past, convenience foods have taken precedence over the fresh product. The word gourmet has, over the last decade or so, become adjectival. In this new formation, it is mainly used to falsely confer some distinction or exoticism on foods and food products not normally associated with traditional gastronomic views, but which have acquired some gastronomic legitimacy. The contemporary status of gastronomy in society, then, is relative. It no longer applies purely to the classically inspired French repertoire of dishes or those of other nationalities, nor does it adhere to traditional and hierarchically stratified foodstuffs. If gastronomy has done one important thing in contemporary times, it has been to popularize itself in a manner generally unsuited to most ordinary people. Although today's clients are much more widely traveled through exposure to other countries' foods, restaurants, and hotels, The cuisine is constantly being shaped and transformed through such leverage as the availability of ingredients, customer demands, chefs' experimentation, stimulation from various media, etc. But there is still a degree of caution from some individuals as to whether it is right to be openly viewed as a connoisseur of food or wine.